So I was born in Canada, and my parents were Romanian immigrants, and they couldn't get citizenship in the U.S. Therefore, I was born there. And all I remember from living in Canada is that I played a lot of chess, and we had a lot of Romanians, and we were very poor, and I ate all the desserts from the elders in the community, and a lot of Eastern European elders, and they kind of raised me because my parents were always at work, and I would always play with the kids in the neighborhood with the Romanian kids, and I had a best friend named David, and I would bite him, and I would always get in trouble, and the Romanian mom said, Andrea, stop biting the kids, and that's all I remember.
You said you never bite. That was a lie.
Well,
Andrea.
I guess I was a biter, because I think I made David cry once or twice.
Okay.
Oh my god, Dad is in here. And so then we moved from Canada when I was 7, very close to the border in Blaine, Washington. Probably one of the shittiest places. And like when I say shitty, I mean literally. I remember one time my sister went to school and she sat on shit, and I don't have fond memories, except we had a trampoline and I really liked the trampoline, and we were 30 minutes from the border. So even though I lived in America, I was kind of a fake American because we'd always just cross the border to play chess in Canada because all the chess kids were in Canada and not in America. And I didn't really have that many friends at school because I felt very out of place. But we just went to Canada all the time, and we played chess, and I jumped on my trampoline. And I made a lot of arts and crafts. I had a lot of beads, and I made a lot of things, and I really liked clay. I played with clay a lot. Then, when we were later, we moved to Oregon, which was also really shitty. I remember, like, we were also pretty poor, and, like, there was ants in my room at some point, and I had to share a room with my grandpa for a very long time, and he was a very loud snorer. He was in his 90s. So we had one twin bed, and I had the same bedroom as my grandfather, so it was really hard to sleep. But since I was the younger sibling, I always got the shittier end of the stick. So while my parents were working, and we were working our ways up, we lived there, but luckily this was a much better high school than Blaine, because if we would have stayed in Washington, we would have went to a really bad school and not accomplished anything in life. So we were very lucky, and I went to school with a lot of really preppy kids who a lot of them were very wealthy, and so I always felt very out of place. And then we finally moved out of that little apartment. And then my parents achieved the American dream. And they got a house. And I didn't have to share a bedroom with my grandpa. Even though my grandparents still lived with us because they were very of old age. And we lived in Oregon. And I continued playing chess. Oh God, I'm at 1:30. And going to Canada
Keep
all
going.
the time. And at some point, I really hated chess. But it was awesome because I taught kids at the chess club. And I made $20 an hour. So I was living the life. And I was kind of just building chess to get it into college. My greatest dream was to get into Stanford and the Ivy Leagues. So I spent all my years in high school being depressed, grinding, because I thought it would pay off in the long run. Long story short, I played a lot of chess and I got rejected. Not once, not twice, but 3 years in a row from Stanford. So then when I started streaming, I decided to take a gap year because I got rejected and I wanted to try again. So then I moved in with my sister when I was 17, and I started streaming, and this streaming thing was going well, but I really wanted to go into an Ivy League, so I never took it that seriously, and I kept trying to apply. And then on the second year, we lived in Austin. After living with my sister, I applied again. I got rejected, and the streaming thing was taken off, but I still really wanted to go to college. And then on the third year, we moved to California, and I applied again, and then Stanford rejected me the third time, and they said, you can't apply a fourth year. So on that day, I decided I'm not going to go to college, even though I had a lot of good schools, like UT Austin and UCLA and University of Toronto, that I got in. And that day, I committed to becoming streamer, and on that day, my life changed because I embraced who I was. And then I started exploring my hobbies, and I got into boxing and got into music, and now I have 10 seconds left, and my next destiny is to become a world touring DJ, and I'm very glad I didn't go to college, and I still live with my sister, and we have a bird. Time.
That was beautiful, Andrea. You told me you wanted me to interrupt you. How am I supposed to interrupt such a
I
beautiful
talked
story?
really fast.
You said so many things. I didn't
Yeah.
have time to say half of those things in my 4 minutes.
I felt like I'd spent too much time at the beginning talking about David and the Canadian kids and
The
chess,
biting.
so I kind of had a speed to the end.
Yeah.
But that's my story.
Yeah, but the biting was, it was great to have that confirmed that you did a lot of biting.
Well, I always forget that I was a really aggressive kid with
Yeah.
a big mushroom cut.
Yeah.